All right, what is up, the crew? This is our first official Monday Night Live session with our new name, our new fresh look. What's up, crew? Courtney, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm over here doing my happy dance for
I like
the
your
crew.
dance.
Yay!
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I feel like we graduated or something into like a new level of our group here. We're almost at 1,000 members. TJ, what should we do to celebrate? You got anything good in mind?
Maybe we're dreaming something up. I don't know. Wink. We'll find out.
Stay tuned. Wink, wink. All right, cool. So what are we talking about?
We're talking about niche equals rich. And I'm one of those people, I apologize up front, I'm one of those people that has to say niche because, I don't know, I'm like all New England blue blood or something. But to me, that word sounds wrong.
Rich?
Yeah, it doesn't work. It's to say niche equals rich. It loses the whole effect. So we'll go with your Philly way and say niche equals rich.
Excuse me, that is a Southern way to say. I'm a Kentucky girl at heart. That is the Southern way to say the word. Anyway, all right, cool. So this came up because we had someone close to TJ and I that were talking to us about real estate agents using a niche. And I'm not talking about farming necessarily, although it can certainly mean that sometimes. We're talking about niche as in seniors or horse properties or houses with pools or waterfront properties or I think the example tonight is going to be gated communities. That if you live in an area with a lot of gated community, that's certainly a niche because that type of home comes with a particular knowledge base that you can specialize in. And you can impart that knowledge base onto the buying and selling community and bring them value and really become the specialist in that area. So that's where this whole conversation came about. We came across some agents that were having great success with it, both from an advertising standpoint and from an organic standpoint. So we just kind of were talking about brainstorming things that people can do and how to go about it. And I think the first conversation in here is how do you find your niche? That's the phase one, right? Is how do you know what your niche is? I think a lot of agents default to I want to work with first-time home buyers. Yeah, you and every other agent in your county. That's not so much a specialty anymore because that's the large majority of the people buying houses are first-time home buyers. So saying you specialize in first-time home buyers, especially from an online standpoint, isn't going to cut it anymore. There's too many agents doing it. So how do we come up with something better than that, TJ?
So in terms of content and the research phase that has to come before any content, right? I've got to hit Google. I've got to hit some of these other tools out there to find out what the web traffic in my area or just kind of nationally to figure out what the trends are, where that's pointing, where that's leading me. But all that kind of has to start with you are the agent. You're the expert in your market. You know what's popular. If you live on Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, maybe you probably shouldn't be writing about, I don't know, Mountain View properties. If you live in Idaho, you're probably not writing about beachfront, right? You know what works in your area and what doesn't. So start there, first of all. But to your point, Courtney, you have to kind of niche, there I am again, you have to niche down from the general stuff. So if you are in Hilton Head, a lot of people are going to be talking about beachfront. So let's find something smaller than that. Let's make our audience a little smaller, but a little more qualified, a little more targeted, and therefore a little bit easier to reach, a little bit easier to make a connection with if you come across as the expert in their kind of favorite topic. So that's step one. Find out who these people are and where they hang out online, what kind of information they're looking for. I want to step back one level before we even dive in here, though, and say that to some degree, the organic side of real estate is all about a niche, right? If you are the expert in, again, I'll go back to Hilton Head. If you are an expert in that, that is in and of itself a niche, right? You're not an expert in LA or Dallas or New York, but you are an expert in this one very small, geographically speaking, very small niche topic. So that is a good place to start. Establishing yourself as an expert, an absolute expert in your local market. And I know everybody says that, and I'm kind of repeating some of the old stuff, but really, how do you define the word expert? If I put you next to 10 other real estate agents, which one of you knows the most about this area and can connect me to the right people or the right businesses or point me in the right direction to solve all of my problems related to living in that community? That's expertise at its truest level, and that is a great place to start in terms of a niche. Now, to work on down from there for beachfront, well, yeah, there is some research that goes into that. So where do you want to start, Courtney? How do we dive into the research phase before I just talk all night about hitting Google and stuff?
I think a good place for a lot of agents to start, and for some reason I think it's one they forget about, is think about the conversations you have with people on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis, particularly people if you happen to encounter buyers that are coming from out of town. Locally, I feel like people come to their agent a little more knowing what they already want. But if you're someone that's getting relocated to Hilton Head or that's getting relocated to wherever, obviously with realtors, because you have laws governing your actions, you can't specialize in, I am the Downingtown School District realtor. Like you can't do that. Like, you can talk about it, but you can't do anything that would be construed as steering. So anything that's a valuation based, you got to be a little careful with when you start to advertise and market to anyone in particular. But I think a lot of agents have on day-to-day basis conversations about, like, I heard there's horse properties. I need a horse property in Lancaster, PA. Where can I go? And they're going to find somebody. They're going to Google horse properties in Lancaster, and they're going to be on their news feed. And because they're horse people, are going to be seeing ads for horse properties in Lancaster. So guess what? They should probably find you. Whatever your chosen niche is. So I think a good place to start for this conversation is what conversations do you have about your market, especially with people that don't live in your market? When you're talking about why it's awesome to live there, what are the things that you talk about? I think that's a good place to start before you start any of your online research, just kind of naturally.
Right. And I think you're hitting the nail on the head. Oh, sorry, diving in over, stepping on your toes here. I think you start with those conversations. What are the questions that you get asked over and over and over again? And you can ask around your office or whoever else. But draw up a list of questions. That is a great place to start. But then Google those questions, because that's what your buyers and sellers are going to be doing anyway. So you need to see what they are seeing. And what that does in organic terms is that tells you who's your competition for this answer, for this expertise, what the experts are that you're competing against to become the expert, right? So number one, find out who they are. But then more important to me is find out what they are doing to establish themselves as number 1, 2, or 3 in the search engines. So if I'm Googling horse properties in Idaho or in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, to your point, then I want to know who's ranking for that. And it's not just about listing properties. There's still Zillow. There's still everybody else out there. But answers. What do I need to know? If I want to buy a horse property, I'm sure there's a long list of considerations that I have to, run through this checklist other than just your typical suburban home somewhere else in Pennsylvania. What are the differences? What process, how's it going to change? And who do I go to for any help? Well, hopefully, of course, that's going to be you. But so run through Google and find out who the competitors are. Find what they're doing and then be better than them. Publish the answer in a better design sort of a way, in a longer, more thorough, more kind of exhaustive and comprehensive sort of a way. That's step one. Publishing all this information on your website to answer those questions and make sure that your answers are even more helpful and even more thorough and even more pleasant, I guess, than their competitors that are already in the search engines.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think the questions is a really good tool to think about the questions, because, I feel like, one of the first things that these website companies encourage people to do is build out your community pages, write 1,000 words about Lancaster, PA. So in that, you probably have a sentence about a really great place for horse people to live. Or on your Hilton Head page, you probably have something about famous for its gated communities, which they are. Tennis people, golf people, Hilton Head, gated communities. Like, that's what they talk about. So it might be one sentence in a generalized page, but you can leverage that to be a lot more elaborate.
Uh-oh. Did we lose Courtney? Oh, you're back. Am I back? Oh, no.
Saying something completely brilliant, TJ. What the heck? All right.
Where's the worst title?
All right. All I was saying was something that might be one sentence in a generalized post that you could elaborate on into an entire blog post or an entire page on your site specializing in that thing. We're taking the example of Hilton Head. You could talk about the tennis clubs in Hilton Head. You could talk about the gated. Thought about it as residents of that community that you could talk about. So just through those questions that people ask you on a regular basis. I think you're right on them.
If you've ever seen any support website or any of these things that have like a questions section on their website, and there'll be like a list of 5, 10, 15 questions, and typically you can click on the question and it'll like jump you down the page to a paragraph or two of where that question is answered, and then there's like a back to top, and then you go to the next question, and kind of this roundabout thing. That model works pretty well for this type of thing, except instead of jumping down the page to where that paragraph exists, I would rather have that take you to a unique page where that whole page exists answering. So combine all those questions into a list, and then you can rank that page of like questions, frequently asked questions about moving to Hilton Head or something, and then linking out to all these individual answers. That becomes a resource section. It becomes valuable information and answers, and that is the kind of area-specific and contextually relevant information that only a true expert can provide, and it's the kind of stuff that Google loves to sink its teeth into. So on the organic side, that stuff is an absolute goldmine, and it all starts with that list of questions that you get asked. Big time.
Well, let me ask you this, TJ. So I think something I hear from agents pretty frequently is, I don't write well. There's no subject in the world I'm going to write 1,000 words about. Is it better to write a paragraph about 100 things than to write nothing about 100 things?
Yes, it is. Yes, don't write nothing. You have to write more than nothing. I found 2 really successful ways to generate this written content if writing is not your forte. If you can write, please sit down at your keyboard and do it right now. That's awesome. But a lot of people, you're absolutely right, they don't do great with this. So I have found 2 really great ways to help with that. Number 1, you are bound to have answered this question in emails before. So dig up your old emails or pretend that you're writing an email, and voila, you have a written version of this answer. And if you've answered it 10 times before, go through your archive and find all 10 of those answers, copy them all into a Word document or something, and arrange them into one long answer, and you're done. You've got your answer right there. If you've never answered an email, and every time somebody emails you that question, you pick up the phone instead, that's possible. People do that. Then the alternative is to fire up your phone or your laptop or whatever and record a video. Answer this question like we are right now, face to face, and use natural language, use your hands, and be all animated about it. And then when that video is done, you can send it off to a transcription service and have them turn it from video into text for you at something like $1 a minute. If you record a 5-minute video, it's $5 to have that thing transcribed for you. It's really, really easy to do, totally cost effective. And now you've got a great video asset that Google loves, that users love, and you've got a well-written text transcript below it. So in my opinion, no excuse. You've got these really easy ways to generate the written content. Just get out there and do it.
And it's something that stay focused and write as much as you can, right, about the subject. And then once you feel like you've mastered that subject, you move on to the next subject. Like, there's never too much content for your website, both from a making Google happy standpoint, but also in the sense of earning credibility and trust with people who come to your website from any source. Being that local expert when everybody's websites look exactly the same, goes a long way. Like, wow, they've really put some time and probably money into doing this just to help me. Like, people aren't stupid. They know you're doing it for search engine purposes, but that doesn't mean it's not helpful to them. So if you come from a place of trying to be helpful and answer questions sincerely, like people moving to Hilton Head need to know this about Hilton Head, so you write it. I think that's a good place to start. So once they've written this content, other than their website, what should they do with it?
Share it far and wide. Anyone who will listen. So if we're talking SEO, and we've covered this in weeks past on this Monday Night Live session, but one of the biggest factors in SEO is an inbound link. Somebody who links from their website to yours. Not all links are created equal. In fact, no links are created equal, but don't get caught up in that. Don't go crazy just trying to get people to link back to your How to Move to Hilton Head blog post. Frankly, if you write it well enough and it's helpful enough, it should attract some links by itself. Now, yeah, you can get the ball rolling. You can send it out to people via email or something and say, hey, I wrote this thing. Please take a look at it. I'd love to get your feedback, link to it if you think that's going to help your audience or whoever. And you should do that as appropriate, but don't go crazy. Otherwise, find an audience that you think is going to be receptive to that. And I suspect, Courtney, that you might have an easier time locating those people with your, expertise and skill set than I would have. So why don't you walk us through that? How do I find, if I'm in Hilton Head and I'm trying to target people who are not in Hilton Head but might want to be, how do I find them?
Well, now there you just asked a really big question when you're talking about targeting people who don't live in an area. That's a Facebook 301 conversation. So let's just start with somebody's trying to find information about gated communities in Hilton Head. Let's weed that down, whoever those people are. Because when we're talking about people that don't live in that market, that's a whole other subject. So let's weed it back just one step. The nice thing about Facebook advertising is that if you are writing into a niche that happens to match one of the demographics, hint, hint, gold star, a niche that happens to match a demographic that can be found easily in Facebook ads, you can really push that content out like all the time. Every time you write a new piece of that content library, you push that out as an engagement ad to get them back to your website. Once the whole thing is written, you smush it all into a PDF and use that as a lead magnet funnel. There's a lot of different ways to leverage that content. But really, one of the easiest ones that a lot of agents do are something as simple as homes in gated communities in Hilton Head. See homes here. Click. It sounds really lame, but if you've targeted it at the right price demographic, the right geographic demographic, the tennis and the golf people, you write one with little tennis ball emojis that are going to attract the tennis players, talking about the tennis clubs. Here's all the great tennis clubs and the communities that go with them. There's 100 different ways to skin that cat. Your community. Don't take any of these suggestions as the right answer because they are certainly not. But with ads, if you work that backwards from something you can actually target, you can really get that content in front of tens of thousands of eyeballs for pennies a piece. And surely they're going to engage with you if you set it up properly, that it's good content and it's valuable to people. And, that always has to be the root of what you're doing because that's going to attract people that need your help, right? So I feel like I say that a lot, but it's on purpose. If you start with trying to help, you will find people that need your help instead of just looky-loos who are putting in Mickey Mouse at upyours.com. People that sincerely want you to reach out to them to help them. That's who you want to attract. So at the end of the day, the more helpful you are, the more of those people you will find.
So what comes after that? I've got these people on my side. I do the engagement metrics. I do, a lead capture funnel for the ebook or the listings, whatever. And you're right. Like there are people who are ready to go and they want my help today. And there's a lot of people who aren't quite ready to go. So what do I do to make sure that I can stay, I can stay hooked up with them long term or keep them coming back, or what are my tools and what's my strategy there?
Yeah, that's a good question, TJ. And I think, a lot of agents do this a lot of different ways and a lot of them are successful at it. So there's no right answer to that. It's got to be something that comes naturally to you. I know there are a lot of agents using text right now because they're comfortable with it. They even have some automated tools that are doing it for them that they're comfortable with. I know there's a lot of people using Facebook Messenger. That's kind of the new frontier right now. It's even automated Facebook Messenger. That whenever there's a new property that meets the criteria, they send it out through Messenger to this group of people. There are, of course, your email through your MLS is a great one. When they're ready to engage, they will engage, and you will see that they've been looking at listings. A lot of your websites have IDX options attached that you can put them on drip campaigns even within your website outside of the MLS. I know there are agents who save their MLS for like their active buyers and then use their website for everybody else until they become active buyers. But the point is, whatever you're doing, do it and then keep doing it. Because especially with online leads, whether you're talking about them coming from organic SEO or organic social or paid social or paid like Google advertising, all of those bodies are going to be a little bit cold when you get to them. So you have to have processes in place to convert. I highly recommend at least an email drip campaign that they're hearing from you every day for a week or two, and then every week for a couple of weeks, and then every other week, just phase that out so you're not harassing people. But at the end of the day, if they don't want to hear from you, they're going to unsubscribe. So don't worry about pestering them. You spent time and money on that lead. Follow up that lead and convert that lead. I think there's concept of garbage leads, but at the end of the day, most leads are convertible, or these people wouldn't have raised their hand in response to whatever your campaign or your post was.
That's a good
Just
point.
my opinion.
Yeah,
I work with web leads myself for my own business, and I know a lot of them are not going to be convertible, and I usually know as soon as I get them on the phone. But I do get them on the phone almost always. So that's a symptom of a conversion process that has been tested and trialed and beat to death.
Yeah.
So the point is, get them on the phone, get them to an appointment. Do not meet them in a house, meet them in an office. Some crazy stories going around real estate the last couple of weeks. Scary stuff. Meet them at your office for the first time, especially web leads. Yeah.
So
follow up.
I think the follow-up thing is huge, right? It's absolutely huge. But if I would boil this down, and I'll come at this from content, so filter this through the paid lines in a minute if you feel you need to. But what I would kind of surmise from this whole thing is that, number one, you have to have something. If you want to be the expert that is collecting and converting leads in whatever your niche is, you have to give people something to prove that you are the expert in that niche. So for me, that starts with content on your website of blog posts or resource section, ebooks, whatever the case may be. You've got to have some content that you can deliver in order to answer those questions, right? If you don't have that material, then why would anybody believe that you are an expert in that topic, right? So I think that's step one. What do you think as the paid side? We can bring back week 3 of our fight here, but what are you thinking for the first step, and what's the most important thing for you? You there, Courtney? Uh-oh. Did we lose Courtney? Uh-oh. I can see you. She must not see me. You there?
TJ, I lost probably the last 60 seconds of your talking.
Oh, no.
I caught none of that. Maybe everyone did, but I caught very little of it.
All right. Well, I'll boil it down. Here's my reader's document. Oh, yikes. All right. We're losing technology here. Should we call this one a night?
I think we're getting there. I think the moral of this story is, TJ, if you have no thing, you have nothing. Yeah. Whatever it is, commit to it as a full-fledged strategy. Don't think you're going to put out 500 words about something and expect to see any traction on it. It needs to be a full-fledged strategy. If you have ideas of something you've been thinking about doing and you want TJ and I's input on how to leverage it and maximize it, feel free to throw it in the group. That's what the group is there for. We can certainly provide some ideas on things that we've seen that worked. And I bet there's somebody else in this group who has done pretty close to the same thing. So feel free to throw your ideas out there. And niche equals rich. Niche equals rich. Thanks everybody that was hanging out with us tonight. And we are going to sign off for the week, guys.
All right. Good night.
Have a good night, everybody.